Hi! I have a fun project to show you today. It's kind of based, it's a little switch around that I've done on my camp. Stampin' Up! Has the Snowflake Showcase set of products that's available just for November or while supplies last. And the part of it that I'm going to show you today is the part that if anything runs out, I think it could be this, because I'm going to show you the velvet paper. And I switched up my camp because as demonstrators we could pre-order the showcase last month, but we could only get 2 sheets of the 12 by 12 paper. And I did a card swap with my some of my demonstrator friends. So I was very, like, I used it, but just a tiny little bit. So I wasn't quite sure when camp came around how much I would have left. So now that I knew how many people are coming, my helper's coming. So I'm going to show you what I ended up with 2 of it on my projects for Camp City. So I'm going to show you one today, and then hopefully I'm going to get the other one recorded before I get to on stage. But before I do that, I have swaps from a bunch of girls. So today I'm going to show you Teresa's. hopefully, I know when I get my camera light set up for my desk, it's a little bright for me showing you things. But here's what Teresa did. This is with the Happiness Surrounds. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and just aim my camera down, and then that way it'll be better because the lights are set for on the table. So I'm going to show it to you twice. I mean, move my camera twice. Whoops. These are the Happiness Surrounds that she used on this one. Cute as can be. So you can see it doesn't, I know it's called the Snowflake Showcase, but it doesn't have to be snowflakes. The second set uses the same dies, but the set itself is not snowflakes. This one, she used the Happiness Surround, but she did make it into a Christmas card. She combined it with, maybe that is, I don't know. Maybe that, I have some cat helpers. But that is a Christmas card that she made. And then this one was a fall one, so a little Thanksgiving one, but you could switch the colors up on that and make it year-round. It could be spring or summer or Easter, just depending on whatever your favorite colors were. I'm going to have to remove my helper. Actually, it's cat colors. I mean, it matches my cat. So maybe I aimed it okay. Let me aim it just a little bit different. So I'm going to show you the Farmhouse Christmas, and I'm going to, part of the Snowflake Showcase has velvet paper, and that's what I'm going to use in today's card. So it is a camp card, and I know the girls are going to love it. It ended up, I have a couple of favorites today, but you know, sometimes when you're pressed for time, I actually designed 3 of my projects today, and today is camp day. So I cut all the paper and I designed for all of the projects, and I designed them. So you can see I'm going to use a real neutral palette here. I've got Very Vanilla as my background, and you can see the colors I'm going with. So it's going to be a really farmhouse color. So this is neutrals on neutrals, and I know some people don't care to mix neutrals. I like mixing neutrals, so I've got my Very Vanilla, and then here's the velvet cardstock, which you really have to get it and order it and work with it because it's a texture thing. You might be able to see it a little bit when I take the still photos and put them over on my website, but I mean, you can see it in person and you can feel it, so get it. And I do have my free online class going, and I'm only letting you sign up through Monday because November's a crazy busy month. This is Whisper White. So if you sign up, the class is free. You just have to buy the products, and I have 2 different ways you can buy it. If you just want the Christmas set, or if you want to do the whole shebang. But either way, you get the class for free. Excuse me. I have been sick for a couple of weeks. And trying not to talk as much as I can, but you know, this required. I have some hot tea sitting here. I know it doesn't sound great, but when you do what I do, sometimes you gotta talk. A couple of the cards I am gonna record with my Christmas music. This is The Snow is Falling. It's an old, as you can see, mine's very well loved. embossing folder. I'm going to slide this through. It's on Whisper White. Oops, and you know, I'm not paying attention because of my coughing fit. And I didn't even drink my tea, so I stopped coughing all on my own. I'm trying to get better before we leave for Orlando on Monday. I was sick last time we went to Orlando, which was last week. So I've got my background now. And the way this works is there's a whole lot of snow at the top, so you can kind of control whether you want a blizzard or you want a mild snowfall. And then it gets less as it goes down. Then for the rest of, so I've got the velvet, which is white, and then I've got the vanilla, and then this is, you know, my very favorite cardstock is our shimmer. And I would use that all the time for everything because it's my favorite. You can see here, it's not vanilla and it's not white. I like it. It's my favorite neutral color. I like the shimmer on it too, but it's my favorite color. So I'm going to get my stamps. I'm just using the Memento because that's what you use when you use the blends. And I am going to use the blends, but I'm not really going to be blendy with them today. So there's not going to be a whole lot of squeaking, and it's not going to take a whole lot of time to color. So we've got this piece here. I'm going to stamp those both at once. These have framelits that come with that Farmhouse Christmas. So stamp those there. Then I have these two pieces here for my trees. I need 2 trees. This would also be a pretty little, you could put it in a frame and make a little home decor piece. My cat is right here. She's out, I don't know, she's in frame. When we go on vacation, the one cat, I know he misses us, but she really misses me. So she's been exceedingly attentive all week. And she's not going to be happy that I'm getting ready to leave again. Because we were gone for about 10 days and I'm getting ready to leave for another week. So you wish you could tell them that you were coming back, but you know, it doesn't work like that. So this is the little wreath that comes with it. And then this set, it has, it could be a fall house, but I'm going to put the Christmas lights on it. So I'm going to turn it so I can see it. So it'll be upside down for you for a second. So I can get them on the roof right. Don't want my lights dangling in midair. But because they're photopolymer, they're easy to line up. And then the second bit goes off the side. But because it's going on the framelit, that'll just get hacked off there. So I'm going to go ahead and color these before I cut them out. And I did have a piece of scrap paper that I know I moved when I was coughing. Here it is. And I just chose some super light colors. So this is the light pineapple. Just for some light in my windows. And I'm not even really going to add very much because I want it to be a super pastel-y card. So just and a tiny bit of light on my headlights. And that's it for the pineapple. And then my house is going to be the light seafoam. And again, I'm just going to use the brush tip and just barely touch the color onto it. When I first started, I thought about making it mostly white on white card. I wasn't going to add any color at all. But then what happened was the tree in the truck. I wanted the tree to be green, and once I had the tree green, then I'm like, well, the house should be green. And once I went with a little bit of color, then the color just kept going. So it has some color, but it's not the world's most colored card. So if you don't have blends yet, and the blends on the shimmer, if you've not done that, they're beautiful. It kind of changes the way they show through. But this would be a nice way to start with blends because it doesn't take a whole lot of color to make this card really, really pretty. So I'm not touching hard. And you know, if you watch my videos, I don't use the brush tip very often. Because usually I like a little bit more color. And if you press too hard with a brush tip, then the color is going to bleed because it does put down a lot of color. So here's my nice little seafoam house. I'm going to have to take a drink. I can feel another coughing fit coming on. And then my truck is also going to be green, but the truck's the only thing really that I'm going to blend. So I'm going to color most of the truck. I'm going to leave the center right here so it has some shading, so I'm not going to color it. So it's a green seafoam truck. And I'm taking care to not color, like I'm leaving some white spaces. So it's not like a solid green. I want it to have a light touch. So there's that. And then I have, I would have done, this is the dark smoky slate, and I would have preferred the light smoky slate, but like I said, I have camp tonight, and my light smoky slate is already on another card. And those were already downstairs. And ready for tonight. So it's dark smoky slate, but it looks okay. The light might look a little bit better, but you know, if you don't have it, you just go with what you have. So I just pretended I didn't have it. I do have doubles of a lot of the blends, but smoky slate wasn't one of them. We're using blends tonight on lots of cards. Oh, I should have colored that part green too. I wasn't paying attention. Because I only want my actual slatey part. The slate part of my house is the only thing I want to be slate. So it dries a little bit lighter. Because at first, when I first put it on there, I thought, oh, that's too dark. But it actually dries a little lighter. I'll do my chimney. And then the only brown that I used was, I think this is light crumb cake. Yep, light crumb cake. And again, I just did the brush tip and kind of swept it over the shutters. And I did it down here on my particular card that I've already done. My porch gets covered up, but on the off chance that I mounted it a little differently, I will color this one. And then just all these bits that would be wood. And then I did the steering wheel and the lights just because I did only have the gray or the smoky slate, which I forgot to do up here. And I did switch to the tiny tip when I did this just so it didn't go out of. But you have to be careful because it can, I find the shimmer paper, it just really soaks up the ink. So press lightly because you don't want it to bleed. I mean, we are going to cut these out with the framelits, but you don't want it to bleed into the other colors. Just put that in there. And then I'm going to go with my dark seafoam. This is the only place really, like I said, where I did any kind of actual blend. Make my tree so it's a little bit darker. And then I took these trees, and they are also crumb cake. And again, I just wanted them real light. This was another place where I thought about just leaving them, especially because the shimmer cardstock is so pretty. But once I started with the coloring, it was kind of like an all or nothing thing. And I was like, well, do I do it or do I not do it? And once I started with that green tree, then even though I picked the lightest green blend that we had, because I thought maybe if just the tree, it would be kind of Christmassy, but then it just looked like I had not finished the rest of the card. And then I added a tiny bit of that in the middle, just so to darken up my tree, so it wasn't quite the same color as my truck. Oops. And then there's a little wreath that comes with this set, and I did it in the dark seafoam because it's going to go on my house. It has a bow on it, but that's one of the places where I'm going to use the velvet paper, so you don't need to color the bow. And I'm going to blend this up. And then just hit it one more time with the dark, just over the places where these dark lines are. Just to get it so it looks a little old and vintage, which is kind of the farmhouse look that we're going for. And then I'm gonna go, now that these things have dried up here, I'll show you real quick. You can see on my house, everything's just got the one tone. Obviously, I just used the one color. So now I'm just going to take this and just dot it over the top of where those shutter lines are. And I'll show you after I'm done. Because it's not really blending, but it just gets that one more layer of color, so it does darken those up. And then I'm going to do the same things up here. Now that my shingles have dried, it's a little bit lighter than it was before I started, so just where those shingle prints are, I'm just going to hit those again. And it gives a nice little layer of blending with just one color of blend. So if you don't have a lot of blends, or if you only have some colors that you just have one, I'm going to do the same thing here on the grill of my thing. And I didn't even color the center of my wheels, which I just did those green just so they weren't empty. So that's all the coloring I'm going to do. But you can see how it kind of just adds a little bit of depth and dimension to the house, even though you don't have a whole lot of colors that go with it. So now we're pretty much done. We just have to mount all this together. So first we're going to cut them out. My cat's looking at the phone like, what in the heck are you doing with the paper? So move this stuff up out of the way. A little piece back under here. My good big shot's downstairs ready for camp, so I've got one that's kind of bent, but we're gonna go with it. So first, this is my velvet piece, and this the framelit set comes with this little thing that kind of gives you a hill, but I wanted my piece to be longer than my background piece, so I'm gonna have to cut it just a bit. Where's the rest of my cardstock here? The only colored piece of cardstock that I'm going with is the lightest piece of wood grain DSP that I had left. There may be a lighter one that I've used up, the one that's white wood, but I do like the way this one looked. The white piece is my favorite. And this is my favorite piece of the framelit. This is the little picket fence that comes with this framelit set. I'm gonna run these two through first. But because the little snowscape isn't quite as long as my card, I'll just snip the end of it off. You also get a similar one in the, see what I mean? It's still stuck there. So let me just take my snips. You get a similar piece in the Winter Woods set. I have a Winter Woods online class going to, and then the signups for it are finishing soon. But how cute is that? And if you do both my Winter Woods and my Snowflake Showcase online classes, then you get a additional bonus project that uses both of them. And it's a Ray Dunn votive, which, you know, all of my little pottery stuff is Ray Dunn. So you don't want to miss that. I'm going to just punch all these things out, or cut them out, and do them a couple at a time. Put this one here, this one on here, and see, it's going to take those excess lights off for me. And then you can do your wreath on either one of them. Well, I'm going to take all of them off. This is what happens when you use your really warped plate. Here's my good ones downstairs. I could stand up and go get my magnet one if I can't get this one to work. All the way out and lay it flat down instead of trying to. There we go. And it just takes one pass because they're a framelit. So. Got the house, and the tree pops out those little parts right there, which is fun. Through here since my plate's warped. Normally I go back the other way. Try the wreath again. Grab my other tree. My wreath moved. So hopefully I have my truck out enough. I'm going to stand up in a second to get my magnet plate. I'm going to switch these. I should have done it to start out with. Stick that back on there. I'll do these two because I still have to do my bows. I'll do two and then I'll do two more. So much easier. I should have done that at the beginning. Hey. bows, and when you get this little die, another die piece that I love of it, it comes with 6 bows, so you do all of 6 of them at once, so it gives you a ton. And this one I can lay over here because now that I don't have a warped plate. Well, I'm going to move it over here. So I can see it better. There we go. Run these through. My big shot's not cooperating. You might have more than one, but my good ones are all downstairs. And there's my little bows. I'm going to keep those inside there until I pull them out to use them. And there's my little. Okay, now we just have to stick all this together. So I'm going to start with my snow. And just pop this on. And then what I did to just kind of layer this up, I wish you guys could feel that. I just added first one down here so I could kind of stick the stuff in it where I wanted it, and then I added some later to make sure it was stuck on well. So see, that's a little bit bigger than the sides. And then I did my house and my trees, and kind of place it where you want before you put your adhesive on. Popped out there. So I'm going to have one tree be in front, one tree be in back of my house, and one tree be farther away than the other. So I'll do that one down. See, and since I didn't adhere this, I can still kind of mess with where I want it to go. So I'm going to do my house first. Stick it there, and the trees. I want them all the way to the edge of the card so it kind of fills up the whole card. So it does cover up a little bit of your house. And this one, just so they're not even, you don't want it to be perfectly straight across. And then take your fence. Again, one of my favorite parts of this set. And see, my porch is going to show a little bit more on this one than it did on the other one. And that, then my truck. Down in that snow. And I've got my little wreath, and you can hang it from the front of the truck, or you can hang it, I'm going to put it up here on the top of my house. And then all these little things I have in here, see, if you leave them in, they're easier to work with. So I'm going to take one and go back with my light colored one and just color. It colors super well, but I think it sucks up your ink, so you wouldn't want to color like a giant image with it because you don't want to waste your blend ink. But it makes a super, super cute tiny little velvet bow. So you could do those in whatever color. They'd be really cute in the red, but that would be way overpowering for this particular card. And then the rest of them I'm just going to leave white. I'm going to put one of them on the front of my truck. And then 2 I'm going to put in my windows. And I always just lay these on my adhesive and then just let it pull some. It's a super easy way to stick those on there. And then I have the gold shimmer paint. I'm just gonna open this up, and then I have an old Wink of Stella that I just use for a paintbrush. So just dip that in there. And those little lights that I put on there, they're cute when you color them multicolored so they look vintage. But for this color palette, I really just wanted the gold. So just add a little dot of color to those, so they're sparkling gold. The nice thing is if you use your Wink of Stella like this, an old one, like I said, this doesn't have any stuff in it, but when you put the lid back on, it doesn't dry up your brush tip. So just wipe that off, stick it back on, and then it saves those. And then this card comes, this stamp set comes, if I can get my lid back on, with a saying. I'm not going to stamp it for you, but it does come with this round saying, and you can see in the one that I've already made, I just stamped the inside with the smoky slate so it matched. But how cute is that? It's a nice soft palette. It would be super cute framed. It would also make a fun, if you left the Christmas lights off, it would make a fun birthday card, masculine kind of card, because it's not super sparkly. You could leave the bows off too. But I hope you like that. If you like the velvet paper, I recommend that you get it super quick. And like I said, I do have an online class that's going on right now. You have to sign up by Monday, which if you're watching this, there's probably not very many days left to sign up because I'm recording this Friday, and by the time I get it posted, I'm sure it'll at least be Saturday. So I hope you enjoyed this card. I hope you love the Snowflake Showcase suite of products. And if you missed the online class, I do have other videos up of it, and I will have a November special. I'll have lots of specials in November, so check my website. So have a great day, and be watching for when I'm on stage in Orlando. I will have lots of things posted to give you some ideas of new stuff that'll be coming in January. So have a great weekend. Bye.